Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/The Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. A made no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. A made no rain from the.
And King of the North says sex trafficomania. Yeah, you know what? Like, I was questioning whether or not I wanted to do the WrestleMania like preview. And Voices of Wrestling are doing it. Wrestling Observer is doing it. Like all the people that I look up to. I think we can cover the Vince stuff and then still cover some of what they do on television. I'm never going to be on a podcast that covers Raw and SmackDown and NXT every week. I just can't do it. But as you guys tell, as you guys can tell, we don't cover any regular TV show every single week. We only talk the news. So that's all that we do here. But look, WrestleMania is a big card. I'm actually going to watch it. I typically watch it every year. Last year I went to WrestleMania. It was my birthday present last year, so I actually got to go. So I'm going to cover it. But I understand if people don't really care about what's going on at WrestleMania this weekend. There's a lot of other wrestling to check out this weekend, and I totally get it. But I happen to be a little bit interested in what they got going on. So a 6-woman tag match. We're going to do Saturday first. 6-woman tag match. We got Bianca Belair, Jade, Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control. I'm very interested in this because it is going to be outside of the Royal Rumble. It's going to be Jade Cargill's first match in WWE. So I'm very interested to see what she looks like. And I thought the look of having Bianca, Jade, and Naomi in the same ring, pointing the WrestleMania sign, I thought that was super powerful. I thought that was really cool. And they're clearly positioning Jade to be a big star. Now, can she live up to the hype? Can she live up to the moment? And I think that's going to be the big key. And we'll see, because she, as far as in the ring goes, got 2 left feet sometimes. Very talented person, has an aura, super charismatic, but can she actually go in the ring? Well, we're going to find out. You know, they've had her in training for a little bit. And you know what I'll do is I will go ahead and present screen here and pull up the match card. So yeah, but I think that Bianca, you're not going to have her lose in the first match. Let's see. What say you guys? So we got Rossi Biddle says Bianca turns heel. You know what? I don't think she's ever been a heel before. So that I mean, maybe I didn't see it being previewed, but maybe. Then we got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. You know what? Like, I'll be honest. I think this will be a good match. The outcome I don't think is all that important. If Mike's booking Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee goes over, but I don't think it's neither here nor there. But it's probably going to be a pretty good match. You know, say whatever you want about Dirty Dom, but he gets heat from the crowd, and some people say it's ironic heat, and that's probably true. But the crowd's going to go crazy for the match, and they did last year too during the Mysterio versus the Rey versus Dominic match. So. Then we got the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship 6-pack tag team ladder match. Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth versus New Day versus DIY versus New Catch Republic versus A-Town Down Under. I'm curious what you guys think. Like, who do you guys think is going to win that match? Because I'll be honest, I don't really have like a strong opinion on it. I personally think that they're going to go with Awesome Truth because they've rebuilt. It's WWE, it's a comedy tag team, and they would get a huge pop. And it would be kind of like when Zack Ryder and what was Brian Myers' name? Kurt Hawkins. Hawkins and Ryder won at WrestleMania. It would be kind of something like that, right? So I'm thinking they're going to go Awesome Truth. There's people out there that think that maybe the Motor City Machine Guns are showing up there. I don't see that. I think they're going to AEW. Rossi says if Priest loses the tag titles, he will cash in on McIntyre. Yeah, I mean, I think I could see that, but I think that we see a title change here. Now let's go. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Battle of the Usos. I think we got to go Jey, right? We got to go Jey. He's over right now. He's got a lot of momentum. I think we gotta go Jey on this title. Now here, let's go to the chat. It says Danny V says they have said that both titles need to be taken to win it, so they feel like they're separating them. Where R-Truth will take down one set but not the other. Yeah, they'll probably do something like that. Big E, Dan Goucher says Big E returns a Coach's New Day to victory. I could see that. I think that would be cool. And then Cola the Lodger, says I believe you mean Yeet versus no Yeet. I'm not into the Yeet stuff. I know people are into it. They like chanting, like yes, 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 and like counting and stuff. So the Yeet thing is over. I'm just not. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm too old. But Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther takes on Sami Zayn. Like, as far as a match goes, this is going to be match of the night. Sami Zayn is such an amazing babyface. Probably one of the best baby faces in all of pro wrestling right now. And Gunther's got a lot of heat. I will always be forever grateful to Gunther because for the only one time in my entire life, I've been in an arena live for a 5-star match, and that was Gunther's match last year with Drew and Sheamus at WrestleMania. So I'm always going to be grateful to him. I'm a huge Gunther fan. I think that it's time for Gunther to move on. Especially because when we get to the Sunday, I think I have an opinion about who's going to win on Sunday too. I think Gunther should leave the Intercontinental Championship behind. There's nothing else he can do with it. It's more than enough time. I think Sami wins it. Then I think Sami and Gable will then go to a feud later this year. I think they're setting that up nicely already. And then Gunther should go and challenge for the World Championship after that. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I think Rhea should win. I know people will probably think that Becky should win, but I've already got like a couple title changes in my mind here. So if Mike's booking, you don't want too many title changes. And I think that Rhea, she's, second year in a row, she's in a big match of Mania. I think that she needs to become more established as like a major star. And I think Becky's already there. Becky doesn't need to win. Rhea does. Rhea's on the cusp of being one of their all-time great women's champions. And I think that she needs this, victory here over who I consider a legend in WWE and Becky Lynch, who I believe will be and this is very difficult for, people that have been in WWE most of their careers. She'll be a Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer one day because of her influence on women's wrestling in Becky Lynch. So I think that Rhea needs this victory. Becky does not. And I think that Rhea goes over clean. And Rossi Biddle says, yes, Rhea wins clean. And then Dan says, if Becky wins, does that mean she re-signed? I don't think that the outcome of the match is predicated on whether or not she signs a new contract or not. I don't think that one has anything to do with the other. But I do think that she will resign. I don't see her going anywhere else. She's too valuable to the company. All right. And in the main event, we got match to determine the bloodline banned or bloodline rules. Bloodline rules means bloodline can interfere. Kind of a dumb step, but it's obviously, I think this is the biggest match of the weekend. I think this is bigger than Cody versus Roman because The Rock and Cody have done such a great job of building this match. Roman's kind of sitting in the cuck chair on this deal. Like he's just on the outside looking in, and Seth is kind of a geek. So this whole thing is about The Rock and Cody. And I think The Rock and Roman are going to win. I think The Rock pins Cody, and then that way he could set up another singles match with Cody down the line. I think that's how you do it. That's the way to go right there. And I think, look, it's not going to be your 30-minute like kick out of everything FTR versus the Young Bucks or the Young Bucks versus Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega classic match. It's not going to be that. It's going to be very much about crowd heat and awesome crowds, big stadium, big stars. It's going to be a fun watch. It's probably going to go 20 minutes, 30 minutes with entrances. But I see it being a big deal. Dan says Cody Cody versus Rock is the actual biggest match where the one-on-one match isn't happening. Rock has to pin Cody. Yeah, so they have time to set that match up, and they could do that with this match. And then Dan says Seth isn't getting pinned twice. Absolutely. And then John Muse, Booker Extraordinaire, says the bridge from the tag to Roman will basically shift the importance from one night to the next. This has been about Cody. Absolutely. Dan says, is Cody going to make The Rock bleed? I don't think they're going to do that at WrestleMania, but I could see them doing that as an angle down the line to help set up the match. Absolutely. Especially now that that's on the table, because whatever Rock wants, Rock gets. He's got the most influence in professional wrestling. He can do whatever he wants. And if he wants to bleed, they're going to say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. You're on the board of directors. You do whatever the fuck you want. You're the biggest star in pro wrestling. Absolutely. If you want to bleed, go ahead. Here's the razor. I'll show you how to do it myself. He will 100% bleed if he wants to bleed. So, yeah. And I think that he should. I like blood in wrestling. I'm old school. I happen to enjoy it. Run the razor, make the money. Blood red turns dollar green, in my opinion. But when it's overdone, you can just get used to it, and then it becomes like blood again. And I think we've seen that, and probably on some like in some Moxley matches, because it's like you got to the point where every match is bleeding, and it's like okay, I think let's take some time. let's take some time off from bleeding. We don't need to bleed that much, but yeah. And I don't know if you guys watched Raw this week. I watched the Hulu version. I watched it actually like before work this morning. And I thought it was another good episode. And I thought the opening segment with Rock and Roman and Seth, I thought that whole thing was done very well. So let's go to Sunday. We got a 6-man tag, Philadelphia street fight. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament. For the love of God and all that is holy, please let Bobby and the Street Profits win. I do not give one crap about Karrion Kross, the Alpha, or the Authors of Pain, and that whole stupid group they got going on. They are boring to me. I saw the preview for this and I was like, "This, I don't care. I want Bobby to win. I'm a big Bobby Lashley fan, obviously. So that's where I want to go." Okay, and for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, we got Eli Drake versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. Okay, just kidding. It's a LA Knight versus AJ singles match. But if there was ever like a TNA match on a WWE card, like this seems like it's it. The weird thing is these guys never actually crossed paths in TNA. AJ left, and then that like after that, like maybe like a year later, I don't remember the exact timeline, but that's when Eli Drake came in. But AJ was already gone by the time that happened. So they've never, well, I'm sure they've wrestled, but I don't think they ever wrestled in TNA. Like they certainly didn't, like that I've ever known. They never crossed paths there. So, but this is like very much a TNA match. I think LA Knight takes it just because he's over. But if Mike's booking, AJ Styles wins because AJ Styles is better. But they really like LA Knight. They do. United States Championship triple threat match. We got Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. You know what? Like, I don't know that you take the title off Logan Paul right now. Believe it or not, I think he's a good champion. I think he adds something to that title that nobody else can. Now, if he's going to take extended time off, then I think you put the belt on Kevin Owens. I don't think Randy Orton should be the U.S. champion. It's nice they have him in the match, but I don't see him being the champion. So I don't see any reason why you take the belt off Logan Paul at this point. I kind of like him being the United States champion. He's got like a cool vibe to him. And he's fun to watch too. Like obviously, like technically, like he does a lot of cool moves and stuff like that, but a little sloppy. But like he adds another element to WWE that's making them more popular than they were. And he's like a part of that. So, and it also brings sponsorship dollars too. So that's important. So I don't see any reason to take the belt off Logan Paul. I think Logan wins here. I think he beats Kevin. You keep Randy Orton strong because I think Randy could go challenge for the title, like one of the titles here soon. WWE Women's Championship match: Io Sky versus Bayley. It is time. It has been time. Bayley is now a babyface. She was one of my favorite babyfaces in her years in NXT. They called her up, and she did have a little bit of a good run, but I thought they mostly missed the boat with her when she first got called up. And then they eventually turned her heel. She was a very good heel. But now she's back to babyface. I think it's time to get old school Bayley, get like the big, like the ghost things that, I don't know what those are called, that you see on the side of the street. Those, the big wavy hand thingy bobbies. I don't know what they're called, but you bring those out, you get the old school music, you bring old school Bayley back, babyface Bayley. And she defeats Io Sky for the championship. I feel like this is going to be one of the better matches on the card. Night one, as far as like in ring, is probably going to be better, but I think like these top 3 matches here, I think are going to be pretty damn good. But I say you go Bailey over Io Sky. Absolutely. Now let's go to the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And I want to know what you guys think, because I think it is time for Drew to finally get his WrestleMania moment. I know he won the title over who did he beat for the world champion? But it was during the pandemic and nobody was in the arena. I can't remember who he beat. Somebody remembers that. I remember watching it. But he got the moment and there was nobody there. And then they went to Clash of the Castle a couple years ago. Oh yeah, he beat Lesnar. Thank you, Dan. And they go to Clash of the Castle, and I'm like, okay, they're finally gonna give Drew the big moment. He deserves this. He deserves this match. He deserves this moment. And they didn't give it to him. And so they flipped him heel, and I think that was a wise decision, because as far as I'm concerned, like outside of The Rock, I don't think there's been a more compelling character on WWE television than Drew McIntyre. Not only on WWE TV, but I think on social media. He's been fantastic. The guy has just been money. Everything he does, every promo he does. And on top of that, he's one of the best workers in the company. And he looks like $1 million. Like, he finally became like that more well-rounded character that they've probably been wanting him to become. And after this heel run is over, he's going to be an even better babyface. It is time to crown Drew. It's been a long time. It is time to crown him. I think, yes, thank you, Io. Drew deserves this moment. No one has altered their perception of them more than Drew. He is very much now everything that they've always wanted him to be. He is awesome. And it is his time. And I think he's going to get the time. And I think that his match with Seth, you know what? I said maybe Io versus Bailey will be match of the night. I changed my mind. This will be match of the night. And I reserve the right to change my opinion later. Now Rossi has an interesting idea. He said McIntyre wins, Priest takes it away with a cash in, and Punk joins Judgment Day. I don't see Punk joining Judgment Day because I think Judgment Day is a dead brand. They did get themselves over kind of like ironically with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio doing their whole deal. I don't think Punk's joining Judgment Day, but I could see Priest doing the cash in. I just don't see them taking the belt off of Drew. I just don't. I honestly, like, Priest is like what, 40, 42, something like that. And he's very good. I just don't think that that's the guy that you want to get behind. He's good, don't get me wrong, but Drew's the guy. That's the guy. If you have him cash in, he's got to lose, which would probably tank his career. But I think I see him more as a tag team guy anyway. Although, I mean, you can go back to Puerto Rico and do big matches and stuff like that. But I just don't see him being like world champion. I just don't. And maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But I've been a fan of his since he was Punishment Martinez on Ring of Honor. In fact, whenever Ring of Honor were doing like their next, I can't remember what they called it, but like the next generation tournament or something like that. The finals of the tournament is so funny. It was Leo Rush versus Punishment Martinez. We're in the finals of that tournament. I remember watching that, and Leo won. But I was like, the star is Punishment Martinez. He's very good. But they went with Leo because Leo did the cool moves, right? And it turns out they're both awesome. Leo's still really good. He just has some issues, but he's still really good. A lot of people got some complicated thoughts on this. Let's see. Dan Goucher says Priest is at least better on the mic now. Yeah, he's very good on the mic. He's learned a lot. Dan V900 said Priest didn't attempt to cash in on a beat down Seth on Raw, which is very stupid. Drew should get disqualified on purpose with a low blow to Priest attempting to cash. I think if they end that with a low blow, man, that's going to get so much backlash. Judgment Day are breaking up with Dom, going for the LWO angle. Dame's going solo, and Rhea losing the title because they are focused with Becky for some reason. And look, I could see it. I could see it. It's hard to predict these things, but that's what we do here. And then in the main event, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match, we got Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I was there live last year. It was almost exactly a year to the day where I was there in Los Angeles, so I could see Cody get his moment, and he didn't get it. And I was just so disappointed. And I thought it was a mistake then. I still think it was a mistake. And if they don't switch the title, if Cody doesn't win, I do feel like they will have tanked his career. I just don't think that they can go back. I don't. It's a giant mistake. And Cody is such a hot babyface right now. He is. So last year when they went in, he was a hot babyface last year. But I'll be honest, the hottest babyface going into WrestleMania last year was Roman. The bloodline was over. Like, I know they're heels, but they were over as babyfaces. In that arena, it was like 50-50. Cheers for Cody, cheers for Roman. But my whole section, they were all for Roman. Like, they were like the ones were up and all that when he won. Like, you got lots of cheers when he won. Roman's not as over right now. In fact, like, Rock has stolen a lot of his heat. And I think the fact that he's just not around that much either has also kind of had an effect. But The Rock has stolen some of heat from Roman, and a lot of that heat has gone to Cody because of the whole Rock taking his spot. That has gotten Cody into that Bryan Danielson position to where he is like far and away the top babyface in the company. And if they don't give him the belt, they're going to lose a lot of money. I think they'll tank Cody. And he deserves it. He's worked his ass off. He's having great matches, great promos. He represents the company very well. You know, we talked about the CM Punk promo with Ariel Helwani earlier this week. Well, the very next day, Cody went out there and did everything that they wanted him to do. He is the epitome of a top star in WWE. He is the perfect guy for that company. And if they don't put the title on him, they literally have fucked it up. They will have fucked it up. I thought they did that last year. I guarantee they will have completely screwed this whole thing up this year if they don't put the belt on him. It'll be a giant mistake. So I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be great. I think Cody wins. I think on Saturday he gets pinned by The Rock. Sunday he beats Roman. And then that will lead to next year, Cody versus The Rock. Because Cody and The Rock is right now the biggest money match you can make in all of pro wrestling. And I think The Rock's got like movies and stuff for over the summer. So I don't think he's going to be around over the summer, which is why I was like, you know, Gunther should lose the Intercontinental title because I think he'd be a good opponent for Cody. He'd be a good challenger. And you can take that match like on the road too. And it'll draw. Cody versus Gunther, like at house shows, will draw. It absolutely will. You can do cage matches. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. I think they absolutely can make big money with it. And then you know, then they'll have to get a babyface cooked up for Drew. Although I think the audience is probably going to turn him babyface eventually. So here, let's go to the chat, and then we're going to call it a night. I think I've gone on about 90 minutes. Let's see who we got here. John Muse says Cody must win. Absolutely. Io says against all odds. Are you forecasting TNA show there, Io? Dan Gatch says Mama Rose is going to turn on her son Cody because he couldn't finish the steps. Okay, well look, if that happens, count me in. If Mama Rhodes joins like Cody and is like, or if Mama Rhodes joins The Rock and like becomes part of the bloodline, okay, fuck it, count me in. That'd be so ridiculous. Count me in. That'd be awesome. Cody needs an Avengers type miracle win. Says Io. Let's see. Dan says Cody and Sami had higher quarter hours than Roman last year prior to Wrestle. You know what, dude? I don't really like the quarter hour thing. It could just very well like earlier this week we already talked about Jay White and Billy Gunn was the highest quarter hour. I don't think that tells me that those guys are bigger draws than, you know, Samoa Joe, right? There's probably like a break in the action in basketball. It could have just been that. Him going part-time and the rumors of his leukemia flaring up, I can see him coming down the mountain a little bit. Roman needs to lose so he can turn face later and face the heel Rock. See, now you're talking. That's smart booking right there. The way that this whole thing played out with this tag match, it gives them so many opportunities to go in all these different directions that really has worked out in their favor. And they've done a really great job. Rock intentionally made Cody a bigger star. Yeah, I don't think it was on purpose at first, but once they saw the tide turning, they just leaned into it because Rock's about business. Rock's about money. He's in the Rock business. And he saw how big Cody was getting. And look, Cody has way more charisma than Roman. He just does. Cody can talk people into a building better than Roman can. That's all there is to it. Gunther says, Shot of Brandy must return. I might ban you from the chat for saying that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Io says, let's not think that losing is an option. Yeah, Look, I mean, I didn't think he could lose last year, and he sure as hell did. And then Dan says, yeah, Rock is booked from May 1st to August 1st, so it can't be at SummerSlam. Yeah, so they would have to do next year Mania. And then I have Gunther win the title from Cody at Bash in Berlin. I wouldn't take the title off Cody anytime soon. I think Cody versus Rock and next year WrestleMania has to be the match. And then lastly, before I get off here, brother XOTHYR, I am not even going to attempt to pronounce that name. But it says Pharaoh makes an appearance, betrays Cody by joining the bloodline, then craps in the ring. That is a great comment to end the show on. I don't think we can overcome that. So thank you, sir. But that is going to do it all for the Mike and JD show. I thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sticking around for bonus content right here on the Voices of Wrestling Network. Head to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. I'm going to have a Brace for Impact out. I'll more than likely on our Patreon have WrestleMania content. I am going to be watching both nights of WrestleMania, and probably on Monday I will do a recap. Monday on Patreon. So head over to patreon.com if you want my WrestleMania recap. And I might try to find a guest to come on the show with me to do that. So, but yeah, check it all out there. I really appreciate you guys being here. And until next time, mahalo.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A-game. Amen, no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A-game, better bring your A-game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click.